The last episode of SmackDown was one of the greatest wrestling shows I've ever seen. It started with Roman Reigns and the rest of the bloodline coming out to the ring. While Roman Reigns was cutting his promo, the Beast Brock Lesnar made his emphatic return to SmackDown, interrupting the Tribal Chief. This was a stellar segment because it created a lot of drama between the two rivals in the ring. I love how Roman Reigns immediately left Paul Heyman the minute that he found out that his counsel had information that the Beast was going to be at SummerSlam. And Paul Heyman quickly shifting focus and performing his entire shtick with Brock Lesnar was hilarious. The man knew that things would not end well for him unless he pretended to be on Brock Lesnar's side and become his advisor again, but that did not matter though. Ponytail Brock Lesnar made it very clear he wants an opportunity at the Universal Championship and Roman Reigns. He wants a match against Roman Reigns, and he wasn't going to fall for these stupid little games that Paul Heyman was playing on him. Heyman was then picked up and was about to get an F5 before Roman Reigns came back into the ring to save his special counsel. Brock Lesnar proceeded to beat up the Usos, and in the meantime, the Universal Champion just walked away. He was not going to get in the middle of the Brock Lesnar and the Usos fight. Nope, that was too much for him, so he just simply looked at the Beast destroy his cousins. This was the perfect opening segment for SmackDown. The crowd was red hot and desperately wanted to see a fight between the two biggest stars right now in the WWE. After that, SmackDown booked a fun 10-man tag team match with a bunch of different people. Honestly, I don't even remember exactly who was a part of it, but you had Big E, Sami Zayn, you had Apollo Crews. So many people were a part of this match, but the most notable thing about it was the introduction of Trae Young. Sami Zayn cut a promo before the match informing the audience that there was a winner that he invited to the show, and this obviously did not go over well with the New York crowd because Trae Young and the Hawks actually defeated the New York Knicks out of the playoffs, and because of this, the crowd booed Trae Young as loudly as they could. Being the villain that he is, he embraced the hate unlike John Cena in 2012 with that entire Kane storyline. Anyways, the match wasn't anything too special, but I do believe that the spot where Trae Young got kicked out of the match was done well because the crowd loved every second of it. This tag team bout was exactly what it needed to be. It was a short match with a nice ending that got the audience to pop. That's what it needed to be honest. After the match, we had the contract signing between Becky Lynch and Bianca Belair, and I'm glad we didn't get the typical contract signing where they just brawl and they break the table. Instead, we got the segment that told a story. The story of Becky Lynch being tired of feeling unappreciated by the WWE Universe, and this practically means that WWE pulled the trigger and she went into full-fledged heel mode with the New York crowd booing her and cheering for Bianca Belair. The contract signing between these two ladies accomplished so much. We understand the status of both superstars. Becky Lynch is now the bad guy and Bianca Belair is the good guy. We also learned that Bianca Belair is gaining her confidence back and she's not afraid of Becky Lynch anymore. She was clearly caught off guard at SummerSlam and she is going to be more than ready for Extreme Rules. And finally, we discovered that Becky Lynch sacrificed so much to return only to receive disrespect by the WWE Universe. Good storytelling is when you are capable of unfolding a story with a limited amount of time, and this is what that segment achieved. Therefore, this was just another good part of the show in my opinion. Next up was the highly anticipated rematch between the Rated R superstar Edge and Seth freaking Rollins. And this was all happening in Madison Square Garden. People have been excited about this match the minute they announced it, and Seth Rollins and Edge both showed up to MSG and they gave the live audience a match worth watching. These two have absolutely great chemistry together, and this match proved that even more. More importantly, they told a wonderful story. Seth Rollins dug deep in his soul and cheated to win, and it seemed like he was ready to kill Edge at one point. He gave him such a horrible beating that Edge needed to leave the ring on a stretcher with a bunch of different doctors. After seeing Edge leave the arena in an ambulance, Seth Rollins was left looking shocked at his actions, not knowing how to feel. It almost appeared that he was in total disbelief that he was able to do such a heinous act. I sense that this is the beginning of a face turn for Seth Rollins. honestly? If so, this was a beautiful piece of that story. And finally, we got to the ending of the program, and it was a tag team match with the Usos taking on the Street Profits with the titles on the line, and I think this was easily their best match yet. They were given the proper time they needed to deliver a good match, and there were a ton of times where I literally thought we were getting new tag team champions. The ending of the match was actually really smart because by the end, Montez Ford hit the big frog splash and was 1 second away from winning the match before Roman Reigns slipped inside the ring and put him in the guillotine right before the ref hit the 3 count. You couldn't have a smoother ending than this one. WWE was not done with these surprises though. The Demon Finn Balor made his long-awaited return to confront Roman Reigns. Finn Balor got a huge pop and we had an intense face-to-face between the two superstars, and that was the ending to this amazing SmackDown. I literally think this was the perfect episode of a wrestling show, and I think I learned something. I learned that when WWE tries, they are easily the best wrestling show on the planet. I know that AEW has a ton of momentum right now, but this show proved that they are not in the same league as WWE if Vince McMahon decides that he wants to put on a good show. There's been a recent report that actually management is excited about the future of WWE. They believe they can put on a good show like that episode of SmackDown on a consistent basis, and I really hope that this is the case. It's totally possible that AEW is forcing WWE to actually try for the first time in years, and that is exactly what WWE needed. They needed AEW to put the pressure on them, and I think this is great for business. It's even better for the fans. I have hope for the WWE for the first time in a really long time, and I hope that this leads to something great, because if you remember, when the crowds came back, their shows were on fire for a bit, but it did eventually die out. But WWE is more than capable of putting on good shows, as we've seen at times throughout the last few years. Vince McMahon just needs to continue this in order to honestly save the WWE. I'm actually excited to see what happens tonight on Raw. They've already announced a WWE title match with Randy Orton and Bobby Lashley, and I have a feeling that Big E is going to cash in, because if you saw his tweet, he even said he was going to do so, and we're going to have a special moment tonight. But I also think it's very important that everything else before that main event is good as well, because you can't just have a good ending and expect people to sit there for 2 hours and 30 minutes. That is just atrocious thinking. You know, it's never going to happen. Tonight, we're going to learn one of two things. Either WWE is going to continue this good product, or we're going to go back to having a boring Monday Night Raw with maybe one good thing. We will see what happens. I just don't know what to expect, but I do know that WWE has the right talent and the writers in order to be good. They just have to try, and if they do that, they will stay on the top of the wrestling business forever. Anyways, that is it for the video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope y'all enjoyed. If you did, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more. Let me know your thoughts on the WWE in the comments below, and on the screen right now are some other videos that you should totally check out if you have some free time, so go ahead and click one of them. I will see you all in the next video.